and welcome guys today to this F1 2019 career mode discussion video. And today we're going to discuss a little bit about F1 2019 career mode because of course we're almost at the time again where we will be doing a brand new career mode for Season 1 of F1 2019, of course. I plan to do a 5 or 6 season career mode, okay guys? That will start in June and will hopefully end before Christmas. That is the plan, and maybe we may do even a 7th or 8th season after Christmas. We'll have to wait and see. That is though the plan. However, of course, at the same time, whilst that is the plan, I want to discuss about the career mode, upcoming career mode, and what team I am going to select for my first season at least, or second as well, season in Formula 1. And last time out in F1 2018, obviously, we did a Williams career mode where we basically impersonated George Russell, and we worked our way from Williams to basically the top team in Formula 1. And even though they were one of the top teams in Formula 1, Mercedes, in the career mode at least they were not at the time. So we even had to rebuild a Mercedes to give them a hope of winning the championship that in the 4th and 5th season. So it wasn't straightforward with Mercedes soon as we jumped in even the Mercedes car. And today I want to rule out the teams that I will be taking the career mode with, or starting my career mode with. So these are the teams that will not, I will not be driving for, and so I've ruled it down to basically 5, basically, put it that way, that I could drive for, but these are the teams that I won't be driving for. So let's start with last time, who we started our career mode with last time. I will not be driving the Williams in F1 2019 career mode, unfortunately. I'm quite sad to not actually take on this car, because I would actually like to, but I just don't fancy doing a similar career mode to last year's career mode sort of thing. I fancy doing a fresh career mode of F1 2019, and I don't fancy taking the Williams, you know, to be along that fresh career mode, because I don't want to basically recreate F1 2018 career mode. I want to sort of create my own new legitimate path, okay, and yeah, basically doing another Williams, a repeat of last year's career mode, it'd just be a bit boring, really. Whereas if we do a different team, you know, I think there'd be more of a challenge, and more battles, in some sense, where, you know, we can maybe spice things up a little bit differently, rather than have the same old spices. And that's what I feel would be getting with the career mode with Williams currently, would be the same old spices potentially as our last career mode, you know. And yeah, also what I've got to bear in mind that this season, most likely, whatever team I pick for my actual career mode, it will be affected by the F2 team. So obviously Williams being a Mercedes team, you know, or Mercedes powered team, will obviously utilize a Mercedes F2 team as well in some sense. So, you know, I've got to get that balance right, sort of thing. Next one is Racing Point. Okay, so it's Force India there, but Racing Point will be the new team, and obviously in career mode this year, and I think they're the only new team actually in career mode. But I will not be utilizing the Racing Point, and I don't know why. I just don't like the car. It's horrible looking, I think. The front nose cone is horrible. And then, okay, even The bit there, further up the nose, it looks like the 2012 stepping nose where it sort of steps down. I just don't like it. It looks a horrible car. I'm not a fan of the Force India or the Racing Point. You know, like, yeah, I won't be using the Racing Point, the Pink Panther. I don't mind the colours. I actually quite like pink. It looks quite nice, I think, actually. I prefer the older style Force India, the 2016 Force India, I'm not going to lie. I preferred it in orange, red, orange, black, green, and I think it was white in there as well. So, I quite liked that, personally. But, for whatever reason, recent Force Indias and recent cars that involved this type of pink, I'm just not a big fan of. I think that it looks like very odd. I just don't like the colour. I don't like the team that much. You know, I admire them, of course, and respect them, but I don't like the actual team itself. It just feels very cheap as a team. Like, you go racing with any old parts, and that will do, sort of thing. You know, I'm pretty sure that's not how it is, but maybe I'm just mistaking them and judging them by a book or by the cover, rather than actually looking deeper into it. But, you know, I will not be using the Force India in F1 2019 career mode. Now, Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes. I'll just cover these all in one. Whatever happens, no matter what Formula 2 team I start at, okay, I will not be taking on, okay, any of these three big teams, okay, in the career mode, to begin with, at least. You know, to obviously maybe towards the end of career, yes, I would consider it, but, you know, at the start of the career, unfortunately, no, I am not going to consider driving for any of the big three teams, unfortunately. So, you know, the reason why that is because I believe working my way up to the top to make it a more enjoyable career mode experience for you, okay? Because, look, I could step in that Mercedes sort of thing. I'm not saying win the race, every single race, but I could effectively win the championship within my first season. And then what would else be then left to achieve apart from repeat it with maybe Ferrari and Aston Martin Red Bull? Whereas when I start in maybe a team like Sauber, at least there's a bit more to achieve. Now, I'm not hinting I'm going to start at Sauber. By the way, you know, they are one of the 5 teams that I am considering currently to start at. But the point is, okay, you know, I could win a championship all day in that Ferrari. Possibly in the Red Bull, it'd be more like a race win here and there. You know, certainly in the first season anyway. But, you know, point is, I could achieve everything in one of them 2 cars, you know, within the first season. I could probably achieve everything in this car within the second season, you know, and etc, etc. But the point is, okay, I'm not going to, you know, start at top team, because that's basically just giving myself the championship. I might as well just hand myself the championship in the game right now, you know, whilst, you know, whereas a smaller team, maybe like Force India, would be a better career mode place to start. So I've already ruled out now the 5 teams that I won't be doing, but what are the 5 teams that I will be doing? Well, I might as well start with the one I did point out, Alfa Romeo Sauber, or should I just refer to them Alfa Romeo now? Alfa Romeo, I will be considering. You know, I quite like that car. You know, I didn't do a career mode with them last season. I quite like the car philosophy as well. It looks quite nice. And yeah, also one of my favourite drivers would be my teammate, Kimi Räikkönen, that is. So, obviously, it would be a nice place to start the career mode. And yeah, you know, it's just a decent, I think, way to start. It would be I'm pretty sure, an adventure. And also, again, it would lead probably to the Ferrari eventually later down the line, but, you know, it'd be still a nice place to start the career mode. Next, McLaren. Now, I did do back in F1 2016 a McLaren career mode, and quite honestly, okay, I no, sorry, that was 17. Sorry, I did the McLaren career mode. Haas I did 2016, because that was it. Yeah. I did do back in 2017, sorry, McLaren career mode. I didn't broadcast it on YouTube, of course, so that's why, hence, there's no videos of it on my YouTube channel. However, back in 2017, the game, I don't think was that great, okay, overall. I am actually going to do, a few days before, a video on my favourite top 10 F1 Codemaster games. But, overall, whilst the game was good, I think graphically it was the best we had, and also, I think, handling wise on the controller and even on the wheel, it was the best we've had. But, there was features obviously in that game that I felt wasn't the best way for the Codemasters games to go. It took too long to upgrade the car, and by that time, you were gone off the game. You'd be more tempted to go to a top team rather than stay at the bottom teams in that career mode. And yeah, it wasn't exciting. The development was really slow, but hopefully F1 2019 will be similar to maybe 2018 in terms of speed on how fast you upgrade the car. I think they got it quite nice this year. The balance was in between 16 and 17, but quite nicely in between 16 and 17. And yeah, some may say, it was too quick, but I disagree. I think it was quite nice. Everyone else was upgrading, and you would upgrade also quite nicely. It weren't too slow, it weren't too fast either. You could upgrade car, yes, quite fast. I think took me quite a number of seasons to acquire all the Mercedes engine bits and bobs. But, I didn't even fully upgrade the Mercedes yet. And yeah, obviously, if it's saying like that, I would be tempted into a McLaren career mode. Next, Haas. And the last time I did a Haas career mode was back, okay, in 2016. And actually, the first race, somehow, I won. Okay, I did play on a slightly easier career mode difficulty back then. I think I was playing on expert, so 80%, okay, which, yeah, pretty poor looking back on it. But I think the AI, well, back then I weren't probably as good, but at the same time, okay, I think of what I remember, I started P15 in the race, okay, and I just kept on going through the field, plucking my way through. I think there was a safety car also in the race. And eventually we became the hunted rather than being the hunter. Okay. And yeah, we won the race in the end. It was pretty good. And yeah, I do like Haas. I've always had a soft spot for Haas since entry into Formula One. I think the thing about Haas, you always get the feeling they're the team that I think has done so much in so little time. And that's why I like them, the American team. I'm not necessarily a fan of those, but I certainly appreciate what they've done actually for Formula One, and I think it's underestimated what they've done for Formula One. They've set like this new path that many teams wouldn't dream of going down. And I think what also intrigues me is they've actually set a light for also maybe Williams, for Force India in future years, on actually if they were ever struggling financially, maybe there's a way for them to get around this. And even for new teams coming into the sport, maybe there's a way to actually get around this, have a half competitive car whilst, not compromising too much money or spending too much money. So yeah, financially, I think Haas have really set a new light on the F1 world, and I appreciate that and I admire that actually a lot. And in terms of the story so far and the success in Formula One, it hasn't been bad. It must be said, this year is the toughest year at the moment. But I think, it's just the way the midfield is. It's so tight from track to track. One track maybe, yeah, Haas is the best car, but the next track, Haas could be the complete opposite. So yeah. Obviously, Toro Rosso, Honda. Now, again, okay, I didn't do a Toro Rosso career mode this year. And I've always been a Red Bull fan. Vettel, obviously, is my favourite driver, okay? And I do like Toro Rosso. It's a great starting place for young drivers, I find. And I think, it really is probably the best team for young drivers on the grid. It is a cutthroat business there. Okay, if you don't deliver results, again, you do get pretty tough time. However, the pressure is less for junior drivers, as we see through the Red Bull Young Drivers program. So this would be a team I'd certainly be interested doing a career mode with, in the 2019 career mode, of course. Going through that Red Bull Drivers program, it would be a real exploration, okay, of what that real Red Bull is like, through the years of Red Bull. Okay, obviously, I do think there is a Red Bull team in Formula 2. So, again, it would be a pretty damn decent, way to start my career mode in this career mode for upcoming for F1 2019. And finally, moving on to our final team that we may choose to select is Renault. And yeah, Renault, Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hulkenberg, obviously current two drivers. However, is there room for me? Maybe. The thing is, okay, I do like Renault, but I did drive this Renault actually a few times in last year's game, but it just felt odd. I didn't like driving it much. It always had through a Rouge, it was a horrible car. I'll tell you that now. Through a Rouge, it was a nightmare to drive. I always found it really slid out the back and the rear of the car. I found always through a Rouge, which was really uncomfortable. You wouldn't have any confidence going up into a Rouge through the corner. And yeah, it is a nice car though, the colour scheme, I think. I think actually this is one of the best colour schemes on the grid, if we actually have a look. Like, Williams is pretty dull. This year I think they've done a nice job with Williams, but 2019. But, I think, the best colour schemes for a car on the grid is that Renault, the Toro Rosso, I wouldn't say McLaren, Alpha, Ferrari's a Ferrari, Red Bull, and yeah, I think that was it, really, I would say. But yeah, at the end of the day, but yeah, you now know, guys, also the 5 teams are ruled out practically then today, and there they are, obviously, that I've ruled out, that I will not be driving for regardless what happens. But the teams I could drive for, or could see myself driving for, are Renault, Red Bull Toro Rosso, Haas F1, McLaren F1, and Alfa Romeo. So, until next time, I'll see you all on Sunday for race recap of F1 2019 Canadian Grand Prix. And then not too long to go until the new F1 game is released. So, yeah, I cannot wait myself. But I'll see you all next time for another video. Until then, ladies and gents, have a good weekend. See you all next time for another video.